Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I am Emily Swinson. I am the content manager here at EverLogic. And Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited that you are here to share some tips with our audience on how your dealership can make more money with Google reviews. Mike is the Director of Partner Management at Kenect. And Mike, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Kenect and how you make businesses more successful?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, appreciate you having me on. Glad to be here. As you mentioned, I'm the Director of Partner Management here at Kenect. I've been here for a few years. And if you think about Kenect, we were born from dealers. Our principals actually ran dealerships and understand the kind of the trials and challenges of running a dealership on a daily basis. So our platform is a text messaging platform at kind of the base, but really, if you think about us, we really help dealers in a couple of ways to be more successful. One, we help them communicate more efficiently through text messaging, which is a great way to communicate with customers. It's where they want to communicate. We help them generate new leads by allowing customers to reach out to them directly from a text us button that we add right to your website. We can actually help dealers collect payments right from a text message. So you can send whether it's your parts or service department, even a deposit on a new piece of equipment, you can send a payment request right from a text message. And also what we're going to talk about mostly today, which is we help dealers really drive and manage their online reviews. So that reputation you have online, we help them manage that so that when people find them online, they trust them. Right, because they've had a lot of people that said great things about them online.
Right. And what kind of feedback have you heard from dealership leaders? I'm just curious on has having this text message ability brought them more success?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a couple things. We hear a lot of feedback from dealers, just even in the timeliness of communication, right? You think about there's certain areas of a dealership that communication can be challenging, right? You think about the service department, right? Where they've got a piece of equipment, they're sitting there and they may need, owner approval on a repair they're trying to make. And they're just sitting there, they're back and forth, like voicemail phone tag, trying to get just approval to move forward. Text messaging is a great way to do that because it fits into our lives, right? If you think about, Emily, you probably have your phone sitting there in front of you, but if you open it up, you probably have unread emails and probably even unanswered calls, but you probably have very few unread text messages. And dealers' customers are really no different, right? They read their messages and they answer them. 98% of text messages are opened and 95% are read within 3 minutes. So it's a really great way to communicate. It's how we all communicate, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm just thinking the way I communicate. If somebody's going to email me or text me, I'm probably going to answer a text message first.
Absolutely. And I've got just a funny quick story, but a friend in my neighborhood was really excited to show me and my wife her phone. She had reached 100,000 unread emails. And so she wanted to show us that on her phone. And it was funny because she had 2 unread text messages, right? That's the world. That's so
true.
The world we live in, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And now I know the audience is waiting for us to talk about Google reviews, and some of you may have used them before. Some people may have not used them at all, but most people have probably left a Google review somewhere, whether it be a restaurant or a business. So you're familiar with the power that they have. Can you talk about Google reviews and why they're so important for not only dealerships, but really any business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to kind of frame it up, we all have shopped on Amazon before, right? And Amazon has trained us well, right? We're trained to look at the number of stars and how many reviews they have, to read a few reviews. As a dealership, your customers are really no different, right? Your customers your potential customers are going to look at reviews before they reach out, right? And likely where they're going to find you more often is they're going to type in, equipment dealer near me, for example, right? And what they're going to find is your Google My Business profile. right? Or they're going to see reviews for, dealers near them, and they're going to use that as a data point to decide, do I want to engage with this dealer? Right. So based on that, just really simple, we're humans, we have to make kind of snap judgments. They're going to use that as a data point to decide, am I going to have a good experience with this dealership? Right. 93% of consumers now use reviews before they engage with a dealership. Right.
Wow.
And 91% trust an online review as much as that personal recommendation. So the old, kind of friends and family recommendations are good, but we as humans now, just because of, we're so used to using reviews in a lot of areas of our lives, we trust if there's enough people saying good things about one dealership, we know that's a good data point for us to use to trust that dealership already, right? Before we even engage. So they're important, right? And on the other side, the flip side, 87% of consumers say they won't consider a dealer that has low online ratings. So they're really important, right? They're important. They're an important part of your business. And if you're not thinking about them, you're probably only having those stinker customers who will leave negative reviews, leave feedback for you. And that's not really what you want. You want your best customers to be advocating for you.
Definitely. And, I can speak for myself just as a customer on Amazon. If I want to buy a shirt, I'm going to look at the reviews and see how they fit. Like I'm going to look at what people are saying about the quality and how much they cost and does it ship on time? People definitely are heavily relying on reviews in our society today.
Absolutely. And it's no different for a dealership, right? Those customers they want to know those same things, right? They want to get a sense from other people who have worked with that dealer, like what's that experience going to be like, right? Are they easy to work with? Are they good for their word, right? Do they do what they say they're going to do? So they get a sense of that by reading the reviews. So it's really important to think about as from a dealer standpoint.
Yeah, and you brought up negative reviews, which I'm sure most of the dealership leaders listening right now are mostly getting positive reviews, but it's inevitable to get a couple of negative ones.
Absolutely.
How would you recommend to handle that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a question that we get often, right? Oftentimes, when people reach out to us for the first time, they really want to do better with their reviews. Often that's kind of started because somebody left them a negative review and they're really not sure what to do with that. So a couple kind of thoughts on that. One is, how common are negative reviews? And typically for most dealerships, it's like 1 in 50. Between 1 and 1 in 75 are going to be negative. It's just going to happen, right? You're going to have, if you think about kind of a bell curve of reviews, you're going to have the stinkers over here who leave negative reviews. And then you're going to have the people who, out of the goodness of their heart and had an amazing experience, will go and of their own accord leave a positive review. But in the middle, those are a little bit harder.
Right.
And we'll talk about how to get those people in the middle to leave you great reviews. But when you get in one of those negative reviews, oftentimes the first kind of gut reaction is, I want to defend myself, right? And I want to jump online and I want to, you kind of want to start an online argument with that customer and defend yourself, right? And that's, you got to think about that for a second, because what's happening at that moment is anything that you put out there, it's no longer just a conversation between you and that one customer who had an issue, right? Now it's that feedback you're leaving becomes public record. Anyone can read it. It tells part of the story of how you interact with your customers. So you want those to be meaningful. So a couple of tips with bad reviews. One, try to dig in. If you know who that customer is, right, and you can, and oftentimes their name's there,
right,
and you can kind of dig in and try to solve the issue, right? Reach out to the customer if you know who they are. They were in your dealership. You worked with them. One of your people worked with them. Dig in and see if you can actually resolve the problem. Secondarily, respond to the review, because if you don't, it's almost like you're implicitly agreeing with the review if you just leave it there and don't respond to it. So respond, but respond in a meaningful way, right? where you're saying, hey, John, we're really sorry you had a bad experience. We want to do anything we can to help resolve this issue. Please, the general manager, please reach out to me. Here's my direct line, my email address. Contact me. I want to help resolve this issue, right? That's a really good message to leave in response to somebody who had a bad experience. A bad response is, oh, well, you weren't even a customer, or you were a jerk in the dealership, or whatever, just
right.
kind of defending yourself in public. You don't want that to be the perception of what other people might experience, right? You want people to feel like, oh, when there was an issue, they're going to help me resolve that issue in a positive way.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. And I've actually seen it before when looking at reviews for restaurants or, a clothing store that I'm looking at. And if I see bad reviews, a lot of times I actually do see the company, they will comment and they will say, hey, so-and-so, I'm really sorry about your bad experience. I would love to make this better. So-and-so. So I think it really shows, if you're going to comment something back negatively, you're showing how you treat customers.
For sure. And it's there for anyone to read.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Right. And I think one other tip as well is they're inevitable, right? There are going to be people that leave negative reviews, but if it's 1 in 50 or 1 in 75, most of us can see through that 1 in 75, and we understand that, okay, that's just the stinker. That's the person who just runs around leaving negative reviews everywhere. If it's 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, that's a problem, right? And that's either symptomatic of, there's something that needs to change within the dealership around how you're interacting with customers. 1 or 2, you just don't have enough positive reviews to where you're burying those negative reviews with positive reviews, right? Mm-hmm. So we advocate for definitely for that strategy. Bury the bad reviews with good ones. But that takes a little bit of work, and that's not going to happen on its own. You've really got to ask your customers who had just a standard or had a good experience. You've got to ask them to do a little bit of work for you. And our goal is to really make that easy. And part of one of the tools that we provide is with 1 click, you can ask for a review within Kenect.
Wow.
So you have a great experience with a customer, ask them for a review, right? And make it really simple where all they've got to do is click 2 clicks, decide where they want to leave the review, and type in 2 sentences, and you've got a great review, right? Make it easy, and you'll bury those bad ones.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And how do you, you can't really control what people are saying online, but how do you motivate your customers to not only leave more reviews, but leave positive ones?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we, again, that's one we get a lot, right? I think there's a few keys to success with reviews. And the first is have a process, right? Take control of the process. Some dealers kind of have this organic approach to reviews where they're really kind of, there's a great book that's called Hope is Not a Strategy, right? And it's the same thing with reviews. If you're just hoping that your customers will say great things about you, they won't, right? We all lead busy lives. They might have really good intention that they would want to do that, but unless you ask them, they won't. So you've got to ask, right? So take control. Don't let the angry clients dictate your online reputation. Let your best clients represent you. But you've got to build a repeatable process, right? You've got to have a point where it's natural in the relationship with that client to leave a review. So somebody buys a piece of equipment, they are happy, right? That's a great time to ask for a review. Or you fixed their equipment, they had a great experience, you've solved the problem for them, ask them for a review. Mm-hmm. And when you do it through a text message is 35 times more effective than an email at getting a review. So it's a great way to ask, right? It's also really helpful to tee it up before, though. So you have a conversation with them, and you're, for example, your service writer just said, "Hey, here it is. Thanks. Here's your equipment. It's back. We hope everything looks great. And if you don't mind, we'd love for you to leave a review for us. If you don't mind, I can just send you a quick text message. It takes about 1 minute, and we make it really simple and easy, right? If you tee it up and take work out of the process for the customer, you'll get more reviews and you'll get more positive reviews, right? Mm-hmm. But if you leave it to the customer on their own, you'll just more likely than not get the stinkers who had a bad experience, and they will take time out of their day to leave you a negative review.
Right.
The people that had an average experience won't.
Right. You got to wow them.
You've got to have a process, right?
Yeah. And how would you say, obviously the negative ones probably won't help a dealership profit more, but how would you say positive Google reviews can help dealerships grow and honestly just make more money?
Yeah, and that's the whole goal, right? That is literally our goal at Kenect, is really to help dealers communicate more effectively and really generate more revenue. Mm-hmm. And when you've got that validation in the form of other customers who say great things about the dealership, there's a trust factor there. And for most of our dealers, we see about a 6% increase in revenue when they start managing their online reputation and communicating with customers in the way that they want to be communicated with. And that's a little challenging now. Inventory can be a little challenging, but we see about a 6% increase in sales, right? Because you're meeting them where they are, and when they come and most dealers are spending a lot of time and energy and money to get people to come to their websites. One, let them validate you and see that you're a great dealer because you've done the work to get great reviews. And two, when you make it really easy for them to engage with you, and texting is a great way to do that. It's a little different than the old chat functions, which they're kind of stuck until that chat session is done. With a text message, they can text you throughout their day, right? It fits into their life, right? So those two things together make dealers significantly more effective, right? It just cuts out a lot of wasted time, makes communication really simple with customers and easy for them. And when you do that, you're going to get great customers. You're going to see more business. And reviews are just a great way for them to validate that you are a great dealer, right? So they're going to go to you rather than the dealer down the street because they can see your customers have great experience. So.
Yeah, that's great. And that was all great advice. I hope everyone here learned something from that. I definitely did. It makes me not want to ever leave a bad review on a company again, but not that I ever do that, but it definitely shows when you leave a bad review, it leaves an impact.
It is impactful for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Mike?
No, I think if anyone has any questions, they can definitely reach out to us. I think there's a couple simple ways to do that. info@Kenect is a great way to, if you're an email person, you can reach out to us there. My email address is mmelis for Mike, MMELIS @Kenect.com. That you can reach out to me directly as well. We'd be happy to chat with you and answer any questions that you may have about Kenect or reviews. And would love to learn more about your business and chat about how we might be able to help.
Awesome. And also, if you guys are interested in looking for a dealership management system, EverLogic is a great dealership management system that will help you profit more. If you would like to learn more, you can look at one of our product demos on our website at everlogic.com. And we will also be doing more webinars like this. So look out for emails from us. And we just want to continue to educate you guys and give you all the opportunities we can get you. So thank you again, Mike. We loved having you here. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot and we really enjoyed it.
I really appreciate you having me on, Emily. And thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Mike.